Listen up. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in this podcast belong solely to the podcast participants, and not to any participant's employer, organization, committee, or other group or individual. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. You know, for fun. So lighten up and enjoy. Stomping Jen.
Sawtooth Frank.
How you doing?
I'm all right.
Awesome. It's an exciting episode we have.
Yes.
We're going to be talking to Brent and Claire Walton. They are the owners of Liberty Woods. This is a 75-plus acre horse farm in our town, the western Massachusetts town of Belchertown, Massachusetts. Right? And on this farm, right, this farm is the nexus of many things, right? Claire and Brent offer horsemanship, boarding, yoga, meditation, life coaching, an Airbnb.
What? They have everything.
We stayed in an Airbnb recently.
You did.
Yes. So
Not theirs.
Not theirs.
No.
But we did stay in an Airbnb.
Yes, that
and
is true.
I know what that is. And we're going to talk to them about this.
Great.
I have questions, and they have a very interesting journey that brought them together and led to the manifestation of Liberty Woods. Okay?
It sounds great. I can't wait to hear about it.
You want me to just get going and stop
please.
talking? Okay, I'll do that. Here we go.
The Soft Serve Podcast.
Creamy, delicious ideas without the creepy truck. Oh, Stomping Jen.
Oh, we're in a singing mood today?
We're here to chat with our new friends, Claire and Brent Walton. Hi, how you doing?
Good.
Hi.
Hello.
Thanks for doing this. We really appreciate it.
Our pleasure.
Yeah, pleasure.
Now, I was going on and on about Liberty Woods. This is a creation that you two put together, and I want you to tell us a little bit more about it. I mean, sure, I butchered what it actually is in my description, but
tell us what your vision is for Liberty Woods and what you've done with it. And
tell us
where you want to go with it.
Yeah, tell us what you do there and what it is to you.
What do you think, Claire?
What I think is kind of a land, our paradise. We find our paradise here. And we want to create really some energy around horses and yoga and sharing this way of living and being, pretty much. So we have a different idea. Probably Brent can share with that.
Well, yeah, I think Liberty Woods, like to liberate people from maybe what's holding them back or, what is holding them down in life, through different modalities, the horsemanship, the yoga, the meditation, life coaching, to just allow them to see other possibilities and possibly break through for themselves, whatever that looks like, depending on what they're looking for, what they need.
Now, how did you two find this location? I mean, it's an almost 80-acre horse farm that's set here in the town. I mean, we all live in this town, Belchertown, Massachusetts. Like, how did you find your way to this property? Like, what led you to it to begin offering these different things that you do there?
Well, we were living in Salt Lake City, and where I lived for 22 years. And my dad just lives about 10 minutes from here in Belchertown. And November 7th, he sent us a link for this property. It was for sale, and it was like, "Oh, I found your dream home." I mean, Claire's dream home. And it was kind of like a ha ha ha. And what happened then?
Well, for me, wasn't a dream. It was actually a nightmare, I said, because I used to work with horses since I'm young, and I'm used to work in a country, and I know it's a lot of work. When you have horses in charge and a lot of land to take care, it's been married a second time pretty much. And my lovely husband is more a city guy, so I try to tell him, like, it's a lot of things over there.
I twisted her arm.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's interesting. Everything has an up and a downside, right? Even though it's your dream to work with horses and have a property like this, I mean, Claire, you said it. It also represented somewhat of a nightmare. And was it taking on this big challenge? Because like you said, like 80 acres is a huge amount of land. And I imagine there's like barns and like all sorts of stuff that you now are responsible for. Like, tell us a little more about that. Like
the property, and also like what that is like stepping into your dream, like that you've been thinking about.
So I think for me, the big step was we have a gentleman who used to take care of the barn, and then he stayed with us. So he knows the property really well, and then he stayed with me as a team. And that for me make a big change to really create a team around this property, to create something where we work together. So we have the stable manager who helped me to know all the property, to know all the Massachusetts word, because you may hear with my accent, I come from France, so it's another country, so another adventure. And with my husband, who is not really used to live in the middle of a country, it was really great to have this value to all this property for sure.
Yeah, and are you a lifelong horse lover? Because I would imagine that you don't buy an 80-acre horse farm unless you love horses.
That's pretty true. So my parents wasn't horse lover. That was like animal lover. And then they was just make my sisters and me to just try new things. And then I started to ride ponies because one of my sister really loved horses. And first I really, really didn't like it. I was falling off all the time. And it was just go on the horse and ride the horse like a motorbike. And I didn't enjoy it. But anyway, my other sister kept going, and I enjoyed to take care of her horse. And at some point, my parents just find a way to just buy a horse for my sister. And then anyway, short story, she just left the house and then leaves this horse, and he became my best friend pretty much. So my passion began when I knew this horse, and I started to have him as a best friend and learn his body language, learn his energy, and then learn about relationship pretty much with him. And my passion started at this point. So I started when I was 15 years old, and then I started to learn horseback riding, horsemanship training, and all of that. And since this age, I travel a bit everywhere in the world with horses and keep fill up my knowledge with these beautiful horses being.
I love that. Brent, are you somebody who's had experience with horses all of your life? Like, talk to us about your relationship to horses. I'm curious about this.
No, I haven't. I mean, I've kind of been, go on vacation, go on a horseback ride here or there, sixth grade camp or something. When I met her, or after I met her and I went to visit her in France, she took me on a couple of horseback rides here and there. But it's very limited. I have spent a little bit more time since we've been here with the horses. and I see a value in that. Like we have our own pony, Yoda, that we got a couple of months ago. And I started to make it kind of a routine where I would get out in the morning and spend about 10 minutes with him, just to kind of get into that energetic field, or however you want to describe it. I have a long way to go. I'm not the horse person in this equation, clearly. But I do see the great power, from connecting with the animals. So I can only do so many things right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we've talked about this before. I've had very limited interaction with horses, and I don't understand them. Like the size of them kind of scares me, and I don't know how to interpret what they're trying to tell me with their body language, right? And Claire, I'm really curious, what was that like developing a bond with a horse? Is that something you had to learn? Like, okay, when the horse lifts its leg, it's mad, or when it's swishing it, like when a cat swishes its tail, it's angry. Like, what is that like learning to understand horse, like body language, and build a relationship with that animal?
So I learned with be a bit scared from them, because as you say, it's a big animals and they have a lot of intention and they're pretty direct. So when some things they dislike, they really will tell you. They can kick, they can bite. It's one of dangerous sports. So I start to fall off quite a bit and break a few bones there and there. And one day I was just in this really classic way of riding horses. And I start to meet someone who do really horsemanship. And she's my mentor. She's from France. And then she started to guide me through the base of the communication, through the intention of the animals, how they can get really soft signal before to get bigger, which actually is every being. When you are kids at the beginning, you don't have any language to talk to your mom. You don't talk words. And then you start to talk with crying or with your intention of having food. So anyway, they talk this way. And then my mentor from France start to teach me. And from this base, I just start to travel in a different people in Australia or Spain or Czech Republic who has a big knowledge about liberty and groundwork. And I just keep observing and learning from them.
Thank you. I think it's on my bucket list to try to spend more time
with a horse.
With a horse, and like
I don't see that ever happening. Well, sorry.
It's a mystery to me.
I understand.
And they're beautiful animals. This is going to sound stupid. We've been watching this show Yellowstone, which is Brent. I think it takes place in Utah or Montana. Montana. Yeah. I got the location wrong, but lots of horses, and it's like these entire cultures revolve around horses out there, and it's like everyone has a horse, and it's just like natural for people.
It is an unnatural thing for you.
Well, what I'm saying is maybe I could learn something from this, right?
Well, I mean, Claire, is that what you do? Is that what your intention is with this horse farm? Like, are you going to be, do you do boarding? Like, what do you do with the horses? Are you training? Are you teaching? Are you...
So we have a boarding facility. So I have people who has their own horse and they board here.
Okay.
I have some horse in training. So mostly some challenging horse who has some trauma and misunderstanding with the people. So I make them to be trust again, human being, and then vice versa. And then I have the pony who Brent just mentioned, because I want to create a horse program for kids and then for adults, because what I really wish is people who know nothing about horses, like like you, like my husband, to just make them to discover what is this word, because horses can be such a good teacher. They're really mirroring our energy, our emotion in the present moment. And that can be really powerful to learn about yourself, to be really a self-discovering from people who are not rider.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things I've heard about horses. They absolutely will pick up off of your energy. I've heard the same thing about dogs too, but don't be surprised if I find my way over there at some point and are taking some classes on basic horse things, because I want to learn.
I want to see this happen.
Fine. We can do a
challenge video. Gauntlet thrown.
We can get you penciled in. Penciled in.
Yeah. Okay. So we have like the basic horsemanship, horse boarding, other things that you mentioned, Claire, going on at Liberty Woods. Claire and Brent, you also offer yoga classes there. Now I've seen these posted online. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the yoga program that you're offering there?
Yeah, right now we offer free community yoga on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6:00. It's all levels. It's generally considered a vinyasa yoga.
And, what does that mean, vinyasa yoga?
It's where you link your breath to movement. So, like inhale, up dog, exhale, downward facing dog. Probably, if you haven't done much yoga, you probably at least heard those more than likely. So you're synchronizing breath to movement and cueing it as such. Generally tends to be, slightly more vigorous than some styles of yoga. And we just thought it would be a great way to introduce ourselves to the community. We both worked for a studio in Salt Lake City where they did a lot of community yoga. Sometimes getting, 400 or 500 people, out in front of like the Utah State Capitol, doing yoga. And I always thought it was amazing energy. And I thought it was just a great way to bring people out to our property and show them kind of what we got going on. And if they wanted to take, advantage of other things, they certainly could. If they just want to come for yoga, then great.
Yeah, that's
I think everybody needs yoga.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. It never occurred to me that I guess I know it intuitively because I've gone to concerts and stuff, and you have a lot of people together, right? And there's the energy of the people together at a concert, vibing to the music. But I guess it makes sense to me to hear you talk about it, that having 500 people together doing yoga also produces some kind of like collective
it's a lot of people
energy.
Doing yoga.
Yeah. And are there benefits of doing yoga in a group setting like that versus an individual approach? Like, I know both are probably good and have their uses, but I'm curious if doing group yoga once in a while or most of the while has particular benefits for people.
That's a good question. What do you think about that, Claire?
Well, for me, with the horses, I do some yoga. I really link the yoga with the horses as an individual. So I really help the person to be aware of their own body and own energy. And I feel like when they're individual, they are maybe a bit less extravagant to discover where they are. Then when you're in a group, you just gaze around or you just do your own things. When you're in a group, it's more, you are more lifting by what is around you. Then when you're on your own, you just really have to keep the energy from your teacher or from your own self. But that's my own opinion. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I'd probably agree with that in the sense that, if you're in a group of 500 people, I mean, obviously it depends on the person. If you're doing it in a group of like 3 people, you may or may not be, more inclined to just let go and be in the flow. If you're with 500 people, like you're in the sea, I guess. I don't know. I mean, obviously some people are going to see it differently. I don't know. I feel like I teach at a way higher level. Like the more people I teach, energetically, it makes a big difference for me. I can teach one I've definitely taught, individuals. It's not my preference, but I certainly do it. I don't know. It's easier to elevate the collective energy when you have a big group of people together, but
So there's something there as a teacher you feel you can tune into and maybe amplify in a way or something.
I think when you're a participant in group exercise, no matter what exercise you're doing, that it helps, number one, with accountability, and it helps to challenge you and push yourself, right? Like, it's very easy when you're exercising on your own to get distracted by like a text or, like, oh, the music is not so good or, whatever. But when you're all doing the same thing together, it helps just to, motivate you a little bit more and challenge yourself. Like if you see somebody across the way doing a downward dog or, a pose and they're, straighter than you or whatever. It's something to kind of strive for, I would say. I don't know.
Interesting. I want no accountability.
Yeah, you don't like
so this is going to be an issue for me. Yeah, you're not a fan of group exercise. I may not be doing yoga in a group. So tell us a little bit more about this. Now, I've seen that it's free or donation based. Some of these classes. How did you come up with that idea? Because that's a really interesting idea and one that I like and find to be very altruistic.
Again, just because we taught at Salt Lake Power Yoga, and they had, they had the donation based classes. Sorry, they had not donation based, the free community classes, and we just kind of mirrored that. Though we have bills to pay, so if people feel like they have a great time and they want to donate, then awesome. We put a little bit of expense into some of the things we do in terms of getting like the little poles out there with the citronella candles and things like that. We put a little bit of expense into it, but it's not huge burden. But yeah, we got bills to pay, so if people want to donate, cool. If they can't afford it, we just want people to do yoga. We feel like more people in the world would benefit from, the power of yoga. So however they get here, free, donation based, whatever, cool. Just get to the mat.
Yeah. And I know both of you by reading about you and investigating you over the last couple of weeks are very into yoga and have for many, many years been practitioners and teachers of yoga. I want to just like spend a little time, and you met because of yoga, right? In India. And I want to understand how each of you wound up in India because of yoga and met each other, which led to this Liberty Farms that we're talking about. So, Claire, I mean, you can tell me in as much detail or as little detail as you want about your journey with yoga and how it led you to India, where you met Brent.
Okay, so yoga, I start yoga in Australia. So just when I start to travel. And the reason I start yoga is because I was riding a lot of horses and I start to be really stiff with my body. And it's one of the sports we don't really do any stretch or anything. We just jump on the horse, talk a lot about the horse, and that's it. So I start my journey with yoga in Australia, and it really helped me to get more supple, but more strong, more balanced. And it actually as well helped me to be more calm with my mind, more grounded, more centered, which is what I was looking for with horses and in life in general. It was really a guideline for me as well.
Do you feel if I can interrupt real quick, do you feel the yoga at that point like helped you be a better a horseman? Like, did that help you with your horse riding and horse handling abilities and all of that because it brought you that calmness?
Yeah. With my job and in personal way as well. Like yoga really helped me to have kind of like some self-care to add more value to my job and in a personal way. And it was like taking an hour of my time, and it was just once a week at the beginning to just pause and do something for me and not just go, do, and keep going with whatever.
Okay. So where did you go from Australia, and where did yoga take you from there?
So from there, I come back to France for my family, and I start my own business in France. And for me, it was start to be really logic to add yoga to the horse program. But I just have some personal yoga practice. And I start to be I went through really a hard time, like personally with my family, and some type of burnout. And I was like, well, I need to just get a journey with yoga and really something for myself. And it was really in a winter, so low season for any type of activity with horses. So I decided to just go 1 month in India to really reset, pretty much, to just go 1 month full on yoga and just discovering what was for me over there.
Where in India were you?
We was in Rishikesh. Okay. So Rishikesh is really close to the Himalaya.
The Himalayas, like Nepal.
Yeah.
Like really northern India.
Okay.
Often considered the yoga capital of the world if you look it up.
Okay, so that is a popular place for people to go and practice and learn yoga. Yeah. Okay. All right.
That was actually an international festival yoga in March at this place because it's really famous in the world for yoga.
Now you're in India. You're doing the yoga stuff. To take a break and maybe recover from some of that burnout you were experiencing back in France. Walk us up to the moment you saw Brent or you remember seeing Brent, and then stop there, because then I'm going to ask Brent to tell us his journey.
That'll be interesting. So first time I met Brent, it was a lot of way more women than men around Rishikesh for yoga. And it was really extravagant. Like, you'll probably see, like, with his high-fiving, he has a personality. You can't miss him. Like, when you cross his way, you see him. He's not someone who, can hide. And I had a few friends in my ashram, in my school, who kind of gaze on him and start to be like, "Ooh, he's a good-looking guy over there." So anyway, that's how that starts. First time I kind of like recognize who he was, I should say it.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Let's pause there. And Brent, I do want to mention, this is a good spot since Claire brought it up. In our little piece of the world here, you've started to become known as Brent, the high five guy. There's been some news articles, some television spots. Tell us a little bit about that, and what that means, and how you became the high five guy here in our little town, and maybe even beyond.
Well, yeah. If you went back far enough, no, it's great. You went back pretty far. It sounds like. I about 7 years ago. I went for a run in Salt Lake City. I stopped to get my oil changed. And I was like, I got some time. I was kind of a workout fanatic and I laid off a little bit. I mean, I still work out, obviously I run and do yoga, but, I was like, I'm just gonna go for a run. So I went for like a 3-mile run while my oil was getting changed. And on the way back, for whatever reason, it was just super like spontaneous. I just started high-fiving people, and it was like maybe 10 people. It was like, it was just on this, not the best part of town, where this car dealership was and in Salt Lake. And, but I just was like, oh yeah, that kind of lit me up a little bit. And it seemed to light up a few of the people that I high-fived. There was a couple of people who were like, yeah, whatever, which is par for the course. And I was like, that's cool. And then a week later, I went for a run a little closer to my house at a park right by my house at the time. And I remembered that sensation and so I get started high-fiving people again. And it was like 2 loops around. So, I was going opposite a few people. And so I high-fived them, 2 or 3 times, 4 times, whatever. And, again, most people were pretty responsive. And I was like, all right, this is kind of cool. I don't know why. And And then I was like, all right, I'm going to take it to the big stage in my mind in Salt Lake City is Liberty Park. And it's a really big park for Salt Lake, probably the second biggest park. And they have a road that's like a mile and a half around, like a loop. And then there's like a big sidewalk that's attached to the road, then an inner sidewalk and an outer dirt ring. And all the traffic goes one way pretty much. I decided to run the other way so I could get maximum high fives. And I would zigzag between all of the different paths. I didn't run in a straight line. Typically, I would just go to you wherever you were. And again, most people seemed pretty positive. So I just kept doing it and eventually got shirts. And, I did it for about 6.5 years in Salt Lake before I came here, and probably high-fived thousands of people and ran hundreds and hundreds of miles in Liberty Park. And, it was a lot of fun.
It's gonna sound corny, but I think that responds to some sort of like desire we have to feel connected to the people that we're walking around in the world with, right? Like, we're all in the same park.
Mm-hmm.
We're all human beings here on this planet, and if you're, sometimes you need to, sometimes people need a little spark to connect with others, and I think that's what you're doing there is is helping spark that desire, that basic desire people have to like connect with each other, right? And feel connected to other people. I don't know. That's how I kind of see it from the outside.
I think it's funny. Like, so, we walk around town a lot, and, if we ever walk on the bike path or whatever, and when you come across somebody coming the other way, usually it's like courtesy, you like smile and, say hi and, but like, you don't know these people. So it's not giving out high fives, but it's that same level of like, a nod, an acknowledgement that the other person exists, right? Like you're walking past them, you should acknowledge that they exist, right?
Yeah. And I think it's even more than that, right? In a sense, because you're reaching out to them, right? There's more than just the words. There's the physical outreach, like in a nice way. And like you said, it's consensual. You don't force these high fives upon people, but I think just that touch, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is just that like little extra spark of humanity that people find so invigorating, because it is exciting to be like, well, this person, you know what I mean? Like they see me, they're giving me something of them. I don't know. Maybe I'm overblowing this, Stomping Jen, but I do think it's a wonderful thing. So I'm going to give this to you. I'm going to, we hand these out rarely on the podcast. So,
and you have shirts that say free high five on them.
Yeah, yep. You got it.
How many shirts? Do you have like a closet full of these shirts?
I got like 6.
Yeah.
I got 3 that are sleeveless for running. And then I just got 3 more like that are just generic ones.
Nice.
The ones that I run with around town say Liberty Park High Five Guy. Yeah. And I've obviously renamed myself, I guess, to Liberty Woods High Five Guy. I just haven't made new shirts yet, but apparently I need to get on the game.
All right. Well, I want to say, please keep it up. And I love that you've been noticed and recognized for this. And if people want to experience some of that positive energy, they can do that by going to the classes at Liberty Woods. Because Brent, I'm sure you're involved with teaching them in some capacity, right?
Yoga.
Yeah. I teach on Tuesdays and she teaches on Thursdays typically. Right. So we take turns. Yeah.
And I'm going to say it right now, people. You can find the links to all of the stuff that Claire and Brent are doing at Liberty Woods in our show notes. Okay, so if you're listening to this, you know where our show notes are. Go there, click on the links, check out the stuff. And I'm also going to say, if you go to these classes, throw a few bucks in the jar, or if it's by Venmo or whatever it is, please do that, because I do think this is really great work that Claire and Brent are doing. So, all right, Brent, I want to go now. I want you to take us back to how you got into yoga and fitness and how you entered this world, and tell us how it led you to India. And same question, tell us the moment you remember recognizing Claire here.
Okay, fair enough. So I was really kind of a workout, I don't want to say junkie, but pretty into it in my mid 20s. And, everything from like mountain bike racing. I did some small triathlons for a while. Eventually that transitioned to CrossFit, probably 2011-ish. And that, as you might know, can be super hard on your body. It's kind of known for breaking people's bodies a lot of times. Not always, but it can be pretty tough. And I just decided that I needed to do something to kind of counteract that a bit, other than just stopping, of course. Why would I do that? Mm-hmm. So I started doing yoga here and there. And in 2013, I went on vacation and I did a couple of yoga classes because it was really inconsistent. It was like once a month, twice a month, once every other month. And, but I went twice on vacation. I was like, yeah, there's something in this for me. And then I came back and then I went 2 times after I got back from vacation, 3, 4, a couple of months went by and I was going, 4 or 5 times a month. And then I went to a class in 2014. So just it was 3 months later in December. And I had already read an article, how I quit my job at 40 and became a yoga instructor. And I was, 42, 43 at the time. And, and I always wanted to be a fitness instructor. I've worked for Costco Wholesale for almost my entire life, 35 years now. And I always wanted to do something different. I just couldn't figure it out. So anyway, I go to this class, this woman, Denise Druce, who's this amazing light in the world. And the woman who married us also. And she was like, what is your 10-year plan? What are you doing today to make that a reality? And that was kind of her theme for the class. And so by the end of class, it was just she obviously expanded on that whole topic. And it was just how do I become a yoga instructor, Denise? Before my head explodes, just tell me. And she's like, it's easy, Brent. Just come to my class at the University of Utah. It starts in 3 weeks, January 2014. And so I did. I signed up for it, made some arrangements with work and started my first teacher training in 2014. And I was teaching within a month. I was practice teaching at my CrossFit. And then within a couple months, I was teaching 3 days a week. And, within a year or whatever it was, I was teaching 6 classes a week. And I just fell in love with it. I love teaching. I love, just sharing it with people.
And yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. And so that was in 2014. So 2016 rolls around. I wanted to teach at Salt Lake Power Yoga. It's hot power yoga. So it's even more physical than what we teach. And I did the training there and started teaching there in 2016. And then a couple of, I don't know, maybe it was 2017. This woman that's the head of the program there, Misty, she said, oh yeah, I'm going on this big journey and I'm going to go to, Asia and I'm going to go to India and all these places, for 6 months or whatever. And I was like, what are you doing in India? And she's like, I'm going to go to this meditation school. And I was like, what? Tell me more about that. And she told me, and I was like, that sounds amazing. That sounds like the next piece of my journey, because I knew there was something in that. And so I didn't even research any other schools. I just went and I looked it up. Okay, that looks good. Yeah, Misty, I trust Misty. She's done it, the research. So then I arranged it with work. I got 5 weeks off and I went to India in March of 2018 for meditation teacher training. And so our schools were about 100 yards apart, give or take. I could literally see her school at my back door, and hers was just a little bit up the hill. And so they would walk by our school every day. And apparently that's how her friends, saw me or whatever.
They saw you and they giggled.
I guess. Yeah, so the story goes. And, but she came over with one of her friends to get an Ayurvedic, like an Indian medicine massage, because we had other services at our school.
Mm-hmm.
And when she was done, she was waiting for a friend, and they're just like, well, you can go in the kitchen and have dinner. And I was in there having dinner with my fellow students and just over here minding my own business. And then she came in and sat down right next to me, kind of like right now. And I just turned and was like, bonjour. No, okay, I didn't say that. That's a lie. It wasn't that cool. I just said hello.
Yeah.
And we started talking. And that was the beginning of my great French love affair in India.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we
Did you start dating and like become a couple when you were in India, or I mean, did you go your separate ways and then reconnect later?
No, we were romantically involved. We were there about 13 more days, I think, almost 2 weeks, left in our trip. And we definitely became romantically involved. It was definitely what I refer to as my great French love affair in India.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know how she refers to it, but.
Well, I have to talk kind of like the beginning, kind of funny things. Because so I sit next to him, and for me, he was a good-looking person, and he was 40. How old are you at this time? 40.
2018, 47.
47. And my friend was really trying to date him, and he didn't give any answer. He didn't really engage with anyone. And he wasn't married. He was no kids whatsoever. So for me, I was just like, oh, cool. That can be a good friend. I'm safe. He's probably prefer the man. He's probably gay. So cool. But
the truth comes out in the Soft Serve podcast.
I mean, the world is full of possibilities.
Here we go.
Wherever we go, there are always possibilities.
I love it.
So, but you found your way through that. So when you left India, I would imagine you went your separate ways, right? Brent, did you go?
Yeah.
You went back to Utah. Claire, you went back to France?
Yes.
Well, how did we end up at Liberty Woods here?
Like, up in Belchertown.
Something happened in between this leaving India and landing in Belchertown. Yeah. So tell us about that.
There was about 10 trips back and forth between the United States and Europe. I went to 2 months later, I flew to France in July of, May, because it was March, May. Mm-hmm. I went there for like 6 days, and that's where I think we like really fell in love. And she whispered in my ear as I was leaving France, and I was like, "What? What did you say?"
What part of France?
Aw.
I'm sorry, I cut that off.
Cut off the best part of that story right there.
Say it again for us, please.
She whispered in my ear when she was dropping me off at the airport in Paris, and I was like, "What did you say?" And she's like, "I love you," with a much better accent than that. But yeah,
I'm getting my skin is tingling. I love this. What part of France did you live in, Claire?
Well, so my family was close to Bordeaux, Pau, which is like a southwest of France. My dad lived close to Spain, like an hour from Spain. So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right, in that area. Okay. All right. And at some point, I would imagine you two decided, well, this is serious. We want to be together. We want to maybe even do this yoga together. Like, how did that happen?
So pretty much at this point, I started to work in Czech Republic to another person. And I want to improve a bit more my yoga style. And America is a really powerful country to learn yoga, and the power flow he was talking at some point, the harder way we don't really have in Europe. So I invite to just be like, hey, I can come for 3 months, do the training and see what's happened, because, relationship in holiday, it's not the same than in daily routine. So I came over in Salt Lake City for 3 months. I did the training, and the training in yoga, it's a Baptist flow, and it's be a yes in your life. And we get engaged at the end of the 3 months. So that was a big yes, right?
Yeah, that was in 2019.
Nice.
So yeah, I went to France twice in 2018. And then she came to the United States for a month in the fall. I went to France for New Year's in 2019. And yeah, she came here for 3 months in the beginning of 2019. We got engaged.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love it.
And then she did that training at my studio. So we have the same training from there. And then we kept going back and forth. Like we actually came here that same year in the fall, I think 2019. We were thinking about buying a house in Belchertown at the time because my dad was here, my brother's here.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the trips, and went to Guadalupe Island and all these places. And then
because between being engaged and the time I really arrived in America, we went through the fiancé visa, which take a bit longer. We went through the legal way, I should say.
Yeah. 2 years apart.
Yeah.
Going back and forth.
Yeah.
10 trips.
That's hard. That's hard.
Yeah, it was tough.
Yeah,
long distance relationship is a bit challenging. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brent, how did your family end up in Belchertown? Because are you from Salt Lake City or?
No. I'm from Michigan.
Oh, okay.
And I've lived Michigan, South Carolina, Florida, Massachusetts, Vermont, and then Salt Lake for 22 years. My dad, he actually came out to Salt Lake for about 6 months, I think 13 years ago, when his marriage ended. And but then he had a girlfriend that lived out here in Belchertown. She's a psychologist in town. And he moved out here, and I was kind of bummed because he just moved to Salt Lake 6 months early. I was like, cool, I get to live by my dad. And then my other brother, one of my other brothers, Ian, he moved out here, I don't know, a couple of years later, however many years, I can't remember.
Yeah.
And so then I followed. So 2 out of the 3 brothers are here with dad. So
so fascinating how people find their way here.
Yeah. And that whole link, like we didn't really finish telling that story when he sent us the link, and we went back and forth on this, like, it's a nightmare. No, we should go. And I was like, this is the universe telling us, like, we want to be by family. We want to have a place we can do yoga retreats and do all these things that we want to do. To me, it was like the universe was just like, here, here's your, put up or shut up.
Yeah.
Like, here you go. It's 10 minutes from your parent, your dad's, and we've got this 20 stall horse barn, and there's a 1-bedroom suite attached to the house that we turned into Airbnb, and it was just like, let's do this.
That's great.
We have this opportunity. You can always sell it.
Yeah.
How much of the property is wooded? Is it mostly fields? What's the percentage?
Oh, what do you think?
Oh, it's mostly wood.
Yeah.
Like 3/4 is wood. Yeah, we just have a meadow and with like the stable and opening pasture, but it's mostly wood.
Maybe 65 acres. I don't know. We had 10 acres, you think, that are not wooded?
Probably.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know the exact number, but it's mostly wooded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have like trails back there and like any aquatic features, water features, like a lake or a pond?
There's a little bit of wetlands at one corner.
Yeah.
There's a brook that goes alongside, that cuts underneath our driveway.
Yeah.
It used to be called Brookside Farms.
Okay.
For that reason.
Got it.
But we renamed it. So.
Nice.
Yeah. That's so fascinating. What's it like? I want to just mention your Airbnb on there, and anyone can come and stay there through the Airbnb site. And you all are super hosts on there, so you're doing a good job.
Mm-hmm.
So what's that like? I've never talked to somebody who actually Airbnb'd their property. I feel like this fits into your ethos a little bit of like welcoming people and, into your, you're bringing people to your farm anyways to do this yoga, and Claire for your horse related businesses. And this feels like a natural extension to me to have a space where people can come and stay and maybe find a little bit of peace and quiet. And, talk to us about making that decision. Like, okay, we want to take this little bit and have people come and stay here with us?
I think we were kind of on the fence, honestly, about we could rent it out like just as a regular long-term rental, to someone, month to month or whatever. And because we've had roommates, quite honestly. Like when we were in Salt Lake, we had 2 roommates, just to save on cash, and this is a big property.
Yeah.
It's not inexpensive. And, so, we're like, well, we're going to do something, we're going to rent it out, one way or another. And then I just heard a lot of good things about Airbnb and, figured that would be a great way to obviously make a certain amount of money, but, more importantly, give people the opportunity to, come here and stay and experience the horses. I mean, they're like literally right out both sides. Like we have a horse pasture in the front yard, that there's 3 to 5 horses in, a lot of the time. And then we built 9 horse paddocks in the backyard. So you can look out either direction, and often there's horses right out there. And so it's quite an experience, I would imagine, for people, at least what they've told us, the feedback we've gotten so far. Yeah. And we've had a few of the people come to our yoga class, that have come on the right days. We've had some people interested in the horsemanship stuff. It's not every time, but I don't know. Yeah. You've given some tours and stuff of the barn, right?
Yeah, I think people are mostly really friendly, and it's just, I don't know, such a great energy to welcome some people who just come to see family or in holidays. Just not the same vibe than when you rent to someone and stay all the time. They just get curious and really, most of the time, really involved to discover around. So it's a nice vibe to add to the property for sure.
Is that?
I think it's. Oh,
no, I was just going to ask, like, is it, what was like the kind of people that are renting? Like, yeah, you mentioned like people who are coming to see their family or whatever, or whatnot. Like, are people coming as a tourist destination to Western Massachusetts?
I think a couple have, I know we had a guy come out with his girlfriend for like his birthday.
Yeah.
But we've had a lot of people, like the people that are here right now. I think their mom is like in Granby, and they don't have enough room.
Right. Yeah.
In the house, the mom doesn't have, it's got a tiny little house or whatever. We've had people come for weddings. We've had people come for graduations. Mm-hmm. I mean, mostly, they're coming, seems like for some kind of event.
Yeah.
Or to visit family that just doesn't have room, or maybe they don't want to stay with them. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be a little bit of both.
Absolutely.
And it's cool. It's cool because everybody just has a cool story. I mean, if you get to, we've met some super nice people. We don't meet everybody every time. There's a couple times where people just kind of snuck in and snuck out, but most people we've met spent a little bit of time to know them. It's just kind of cool.
Yeah. We once stayed at a horse B&B up in New Hampshire.
Yeah. I forget which side of the White Mountains it was on, but it was like a charming experience. Like you said, like, you walk outside of the building, there are the horses, you can go pet them. And at the time, our daughter did like a series of lessons. Yeah, they both did. Yeah. But our daughter was like super into horses at that point. And so that's why we had stayed there. But it was such a fun, charming experience. So like, people, if you're listening to this, you want to get away for a weekend writer's retreat, and we know some creatives who listen to this, you just want to get away from the house for a week or a month.
Do some yoga and look at some horses.
Yeah, check it out. Again, it looks like a great little space. Claire and Brent are highly rated hosts, so check that out. And you can experience the whole of what's happening at Liberty Woods if you check that out. So, all right. Brent, I also wanted to touch on you. I mean, you offers like personal fitness coaching and life coaching too. This is something a space you're in.
I'm a certified professional coach through the Institute of IPEC, the Institute of Professional Excellence in Coaching. I I'm just in the kind of like, of all the things that we're doing, that's probably the one that's, in the most, the earliest stages of development. There's definitely an opportunity there, but it's basically coaching people to, help them achieve whatever goals they want to achieve, and just figuring out what's holding them back. And it also actually has to do with energy, like your energetic, like the energetic space that you're in any given moment. And that kind of determines whether you're taking action or not, and just helping people work through that so they can remove the blocks that are holding them back from achieving whatever goals they want. So, yeah.
I love it. And so I want to just touch again before we transition into our last couple of questions for our listeners, the kind of stuff that we're offering related to horses on the farm here. I'm on the website here. It's clarelydifferently.com. Again, I'll have the link in the show notes. You can go check this out. But they're private horse classes. Okay. So I'm not going to promise, okay, but I'm going to think about it. I am interested, Claire. I really am interested in trying to understand horses better. So, these private classes might help me. Stomping Jen, that might be a good present for me, because I won't do it on my own.
Okay.
All right. There's so workshops that you do. Horse training, right? You offer some of that at the farm or at Liberty Woods. We talked about yoga classes, kids classes, right? Kids can learn how to interact with these horses and start them early, right? I mean,
so I start at 4 years old, and 4 years old is usually, I really focus more on how to take care of the pony, how to groom him, how the pony really express himself, because a pony can be in a good mood or in a bad mood. And really, it's not just about brushing and put the kids on the pony and then just do some pony turning around. I really introduce the kids to the pony and really a relationship with a pony, and how to use his body language and energy with them.
Yeah, and you say in the description it's about finding trust and respect, and I mean, with such a majestic animal with so much power, that's got to be important for kids to learn, I think.
Completely, yeah.
Yep.
And the first few rides, I actually make them to do a lot of groundwork, and then to ride them bareback, or to make them to really just lying down on the back of the pony and just close the eyes and just take a breath and just sleep on the pony. And when you really make the kids to really lying down on the back, on the croup of the pony, there are a lot of trust giving between each other, between the pony, between the kids, and between me, the teacher. And that's where really starts a great energy around the horses.
I love that. And you do this for adults too.
I was going to say.
Adults can do this.
You're going to go lay on a pony?
I'd be afraid to, but I'll try it.
He's a great guy. She's a great guy.
If you're there to hold my hand, Jen.
No, Claire's going to hold your hand.
All right. Well, I'll try it. All right.
Oh,
and we talked about this. We talked about this, a retreat too. You can do a retreat here at the, at Liberty Woods too. So, 2 days to 4 days. So anyways, if you're interested in this, contact, Claire and Brent about all of this interesting stuff. So, I think this is amazing what you've built at Liberty Woods, what you're building there. And I love that this is happening in my hometown. I've got to admit it. Belchertown, Massachusetts. So this is exciting. So anything else you want to say, Claire and Brent, about Liberty Woods and what's happening there before we move into our last couple of questions and we say goodbye?
I just, the invitation is open for people to come check out what we're doing. Obviously with the yoga every week, if anybody's interested in obviously horsemanship, or life coaching, if you want to make a change in your life, we've probably got a modality that can help you. I like to think of us, as myself, and I can't speak for Claire, but as like positive agents for change in the world. I don't know. What do you think about that? What's your take on it?
Yeah, I think I agree with what you said, and we done all of that for ourselves, and we will really step into our dreams, and we just want to invite every people to do the same for their own life. Step in your dream and share what you want to share in your heart.
I love it.
That sounds nice.
Thank you too, and thank you for the work you're doing in trying to be positive change agents.
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
we need more of that
Absolutely.
out there. I really think that. So thank you. All right, our last couple of questions. They're not going to be related to Liberty Woods. So, and I want to say this: your answer cannot be related to yoga, horses.
High-fiving people,
Brent. That's all. We cannot answer. What do you like to do for fun? That's not related to the all of the stuff we've talked about now. What else brings you joy in life?
For me, I really like to hike. I love nature in general, and going for a hike in the wood or mountains. So it's something with really fulfill for me.
Do you have any favorite hikes that you've done in the last couple since being here?
Yes, it's really close, right there in the property, Liberty Wood. Oops, I should.
It's okay. I'll allow it.
That's all right.
I'll allow it. Because you have 80 acres there. I mean, you have a lot of space to move around. Yeah. That's awesome. How about you, Brent? What do you like to do? What brings you joy?
I do also enjoy hiking. I like skydiving. I'm a licensed skydiver.
Oh my God.
And my two of my really good friends, like two of my best friends were just here. Like we just took them to the airport this morning. Probably like 9:30 because we got to get up at like 3 this morning to drive them to Boston.
Oh my goodness.
But we went skydiving up in Orange, did 3 jumps a couple of days ago. So I've done 340 jumps, I think now.
Oh my God.
So much of what you two do terrifies me.
I was going to say that's another thing that you were terrified of.
Horses, jumping out of planes.
Naked even 4 times.
Oh my God.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Wow, what's that like? Can you describe it for us? That not the naked skydivings, but just that feel, or you can if you want, but that feeling of jumping out of that plane and just falling. What's that like?
Claire, how was it? She went once.
Yeah, I went once. It's something I want to check on my list.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I think it's really, really fucking scary.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, wrong word. But after that, it's really fun. Like after the jump where you kind of wonder yourself, why do you jump off the plane? And you're like, why I'm doing that and why I'm opening my body to this empty space like that. After that is just, I can understand why you like it, because it's a lot of adrenaline and a lot of fun and yeah. But I don't know for you.
It's a lot of fun. And like the adrenaline is there a bit, but it's for, when you've done it that many times, it's not as intense. But it's kind of this mix of, you almost obviously feel like you're flying. You're not, you're falling, but it kind of gives you that sensation clearly. And also when you're up there, like with your buddies, you get to do, it's like this, like, weird adult playtime in the sky. Like, we're going to do some backflips and then we're going to do some spins and we're going to link up and it's just really fun, like to be able to like come up with a plan and try to execute the plan. And sometimes when it doesn't really go to plan, when you're trying to like do a formation and it's kind of a, we'll say a shit show, but safe, but it's almost, those are almost the best ones sometimes. Yeah. When it all kinds of falls apart, as long as everybody lands good, and they do.
Wow.
Knock on wood.
Well,
it's so funny.
Yeah. What?
Well, I used to like when I was younger, I very much enjoy going to the amusement parks, and I love free fall rides and whatnot. But like, yeah, jumping out of an airplane like scares the shit out of me. And then as we have children, and as I get older, like going to the amusement park like terrifies me now. And this doesn't terrify me, but like having my kids with me and like watching them go on the rides, and then like I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like you just like feel your mortality more. I don't know. So it's interesting that you're still doing it. I don't know.
It's relatively safe.
Yeah.
I mean, you got 2 parachutes, obviously people die, but people die on the roads every day.
That's true.
You're gonna go one way or another. It's relatively safe.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing those.
Thank you for sharing
those experiences. I love it. All right, our last question, and I'm going to direct this to both of you. You can answer in whatever order you want, and whoever answers second is going to have more time to think about this. So I'm just going to say, start kicking each other under the table. What have you experienced that you can't explain? And this could be anything. This could be something spiritual. It could be something paranormal. It could be whatever pops into mind.
Something you cannot explain.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll go first.
Okay.
I mean, I have something. I did it's called Vipassana meditation, like the silent meditation retreat for 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually done 2. I think it's 2019 and last year, right? 2021 in Idaho. And I mean, I guess I can explain it, but it's like you're meditating for about 9.5 hours a day on a schedule from like 6 a.m. till I don't know about 8:30 at night. With breaks for a little bit of food and maybe walking around the property. And you don't make eye contact. You don't talk. You don't read. You don't have music. You don't have books. Like you're literally meditating, eating, and sleeping, and maybe walking around. And again, not even making eye contact. And it becomes like basically a body scan meditation after, like 3 days. You're just starting at the top of your head and tuning into the sensations in your body. Like, oh, what do I feel? Do I feel anything? Is it hot, cold, tingly, whatever? And you just kind of move from head to toe and you do that for like a week, right? After you get to this point. And, cause the first 3 days you're just tuning into the sensations of your breath right here on your nose, like just below your nostrils, which is painstaking, at least for me. But you get to a point where like all of a sudden, the first time I went, I don't know, 7 days in, all of a sudden I felt this, what seemed to be like a little tingling on the top of my head. And then as I moved my focus down, my attention, all of a sudden it felt like a ring of sensation, like almost like tingling. And then it, like wherever I moved my focus, it went all the way down to my toes. And then my toes and I went back up. So it just felt like this, like almost like a halo of sensation. And that like blew my mind. And then it happened a couple times. The first time I went in 2019. And then when I went back, it happened again. And it got to the point where you could think about like this spot on your arm, and it almost felt like somebody was pushing that spot on your arm. Or, I got to a point where, okay, what if I always thought it like pushing in, like in my mind, I was like pushing in and it felt like somebody's kind of pushing in the top of my head. But then all of a sudden, like, what if I take it the other direction and I imagine it like pulling out? So it felt like it was expanding off it, like it was kind of like expanding off my head. And then it just moved all around my body. And I went back to my room and I was laying there and I was like visualizing this expansiveness out of my chest. And it felt like, and I did broaden that expansion to my whole body, and it almost felt like I was going to, it almost felt like, I know I didn't, like, lift out of the bed.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not claiming that I lifted out of the bed or even was going to lift out of the bed, but it almost like a lightness. It was crazy.
Wow.
But it's something they kind of describe within the meditation is this free flowing energy or whatnot. And I think it's just like tuning into your body. Like we're so not in tune, kind of like we're not in tune with animals, or ourselves. And we're missing all of these sensations in our body. It's crazy.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I'm actually reading a book right now. It's like atheist's reflection on Buddhism. Right. And this guy was like, he studied in India and was like with the Dalai Lama, and it's like his journey through like traditional Tibetan Buddhism to Zen Buddhism, then to this form of like atheistic Buddhism he practices. And there's a chapter where he describes meditating, Brent, that sounds just like what you described to me. It's fascinating. Yeah. So thank you for sharing that. Claire, what about you? Anything that you think about that you can't explain?
I didn't have any experience like that, for sure. It makes a level like up high. I think the only thing that come in my mind is maybe a bit hard for me to share right now, but my mom had a cancer a few years ago, and I had really the intuition it happened before it happened. So the night she discovered she has a cancer, I was in Australia. I called her in the middle of the night because it was daytime in France. And I was like, what's happened? Yeah. And she discovered she has a cancer, but really from nowhere. She was really healthy and all of it. And I just take the first flight, come back to France and stay with her. And it was really, I cannot explain. I wasn't ahead of everything what will happen with the intuition. Yeah. And sometimes I could not really explain. I make my grandparents to come to see her 2 days before she passed away, where she wasn't ready really to pass away, or really a lot of things like that. And this like sense of intuition where my head was said, why are you doing that? She's not dying yet. She will just recover from cancer. To like my heart say, just do it. You will get it later. Just do it. And that's for me, it's something I try to understand and try to touch again, because sometimes our head said something, but our heart says something else, and often we don't follow the heart, and we just understand later on, and we have regret where, it's hard to live on that. So I guess it's, it's probably the part of my little story. It's a bit hard to. Well,
thank you. I'm sorry for your loss, and thank you for sharing such a personal example with us. I really appreciate that. Yeah. I'm hearing a lot about energies, right, and connections to self and others here. That's, definitely unexplainable. So thank you. Woo! I loved it. Thank you. Wow. I'm just sitting with that for a minute.
Sorry.
Yeah. You okay over there?
I'm okay.
All right.
Yeah, I'm fine.
All right. Claire, Brent, Walton, thank you both.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed this conversation with you two. I learned a lot. I think the story of Liberty Woods is a love story. I think it's a story of two people who found each other and shared this interest in making positive change in the world, maybe through different ways. Claire, your focus on horses and yoga. Brent, your focus on high-fiving, yoga, jumping out of airplanes, professional coaching, right? But I think you found each other, and you are turning this Liberty Woods into something amazing in our town. So thank you.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed hearing that story. All right, listeners, a couple of things for you to know. Number one, check out our website, okay? Go there, and you can see all the stuff we're up to, okay? There's a link to our Instagram page. You can connect to that from there. You can connect to our Facebook from there.
We got a new review.
It was, of course, glowing. Right, Stomping Jen?
Of course, yes. We'll take any kind of review, but the glowing kind of review is always a better kind.
1 star, 2 star, anything. Just give us reviews. All right. You know what to do. If you're listening to this for the first time, right, because you were drawn in, because you know Claire and Brent, and do us a favor. You love horses, whatever it is. However you found your way to us, please subscribe to the podcast, download our episodes.
Share with a friend.
Spread the love, okay? Do that, please. And finally, I'm feeling the love this week. I'm going to say this week, listeners, I love you.
Only this week. This week and this week only.
Don't
expect it. Don't rely on it.
You may never hear it again, but this week I love you.
This week.
Right?
All right.
Anything else, Stomping Jen?
I think we're good.
All right. We're all going to go around and just say goodbye in whatever way we like to say goodbye. Claire, I'll give you the honor of going first.
Well, it was an honor to be with you, to chat here, and I hope to see you soon to do some horse class. You or people who follow you.
Nice.
All right. Thanks, Brent.
High five.
High five.
All right. Yeah. Nice. All right. An audio high five.
Awesome.
All right. We did it.
All right.
It was 2 high fives. Stomping Jen.
Bye now.
All right. I'm going to say the same thing to you all because I invented bye now. So.
Oh, boy.
Bye now.
This world of ours, ever growing smaller, must avoid becoming a community of dreadful fear and hate. Those who have freedom will understand also its heavy responsibility. That all who are insensitive to the needs of others will learn charity, and that the sources, scourges of poverty, disease, and ignorance will be made disappear from the earth. And that in the goodness of time, all peoples will come to live together in a peace guaranteed by the binding force of mutual respect and love. I shall never cease to do what little I can to help the world advance along that road.